Hi, it's Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Here are the blog posts we want to share with you. We review, of course, the latest in social media and technology, and we do also these phone reviews you can see here on the Chris Voss Show channel and on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to both of them so you can get it and take advantage of all the great reviews we do and all the cool phones that we review as we get them from all the major carriers. So we're going to be doing a comparison here between these two phones. This one is from T-Mobile. You can see them at t-mobile.com. That's t-mobile.com. This is the HTC One S, very powerful phone. And then on top of that, we have the Verizon Motorola Razr M. The Motorola Razr M, super fast, built very well with just like the S, is a very comparable phone. So we're going to talk about and benchmark and look at the cameras on both devices and try and give you an idea of what one might work best for you. So let's take a look at both these devices and how they operate. We're going to get into the specs of them. Let's start with the T-Mobile. The T-Mobile has, in essence, size of 5.15 in height, 2.56 in width, and 0.31 in thickness. It has talk time of 10.5 hours max, standby 317 hours, and a 1650 milliamp battery. It's got a screen type of OLED full color resolution, 540 by 960 pixels, and a 4.3 diagonal screen. It's Android version 4.03 that comes with it, HTC Sense 4. It's got a 1.5 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 dual-core processor in it. 16 gigabytes internal storage, raw hardware, 12.1 gigabytes internal storage. Available user is 1 gigabyte of RAM. You've got on the camera, what we're looking at is the camera is a 1080p, of course, for the back for video output. Resolution on the camera itself is 8 megapixels. Front-facing camera is resolution VGA. So that pretty much gives us the rundown on the T-Mobile One S HTC device. Now, taking a look at the Razr, we're looking at the design of it is 4.82 in height, 2.39 in width, 0.33 in thickness, weight of 4.44 ounces. It has an operating system that starts with the Android 4.04 ice cream sandwich, so one of the latest ones out there. Its processor is a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor with 1 gigabyte of DDR2 RAM. Its memory is 8 gigabytes internal memory, and it supports up to a 32 gigabyte micro SD expandable memory card sold separately, of course. Display is a 4.3 AMOLED Super AMOLED screen, advanced display QHD resolution 960 by 540, and it has a battery that's pretty huge by most smartphone standards, 2,000 milliamps, so pretty huge there. Usage times up to 20 hours of standby time, up to approximately 17 days. So you have that. The back camera is an 8 megapixel camera, and the front facing camera is 0.3 megapixels, 720 HD video recording from the front, and I believe from the back you should have a full 1080p. Yes, that is correct, 1080p capture on the back. The HTC One S also has Beats Mobile, which is a feature found with most HTC phones. So let's get into both these phones. Now, one thing that's interesting in the difference between these two phones, we have upgraded this phone to 4.03, so it is running on that much more expanded Android update. So we have that. Both phones have, of course, your swipe that you have with anything. They have a finite swipe going back and forth. One thing that's interesting about the Motorola is it has a thing where if you page to the left, instead of seeing more screens like you would on the T-Mobile and other widgets, you have this thing where you can get into your settings very quickly and be able to change settings on the phone. So very interesting that way. One thing you're probably also noticing at this point is the back of the screen is animated. So there's some animations, several different wallpaper animations you can take and choose from, and there's bubbles and all sorts of other different things that you can take and do. So a little bit different than what you can do with the T-Mobile One S. The other thing is you can see that there's different ways that this pops up. As we page through the pages here, left to right on the 1S, you can see that it just basically flips. But this has kind of a thing where it appears to come from underneath and move forward, and then if you go the other way, it appears to drop out and move the other platelet or layer across the top of it. Kind of a cool way of presentation. I thought it was neat to play with, and all that good stuff. Now, across the top you have your speaker for your calls, you have your front-facing camera, you have your back button, home button, and recent apps button, much like you do on the Verizon Razr. You have your back button, home, recent apps. Up here you have a hidden, I guess, away speaker for your calls, a front-facing camera right there. Let's take a look at the back of both devices. The back of both devices are pretty. I don't know what to say. They're the back of the devices. Let's say that. You've got your camera eye back here, your lamp flash. Camera eye here, lamp flash. There's a small speaker here. It's actually really powerful in the Droid. At first I was a little put off seeing the speaker there when I first unboxed it, but then I was like, wow, it's really, really loud. So that works out well. Speaker on the HTC One S is down here. Of course, you can see the Beats Audio logo. They both have a really nice finish to the backs of both devices. So one difference here is the back of the HTC One does pop off for the availability to be able to insert the SIM card. So that's pretty much its function there. It doesn't really do any expanding of memory in that way, shape, or form. We'll actually show you how the Motorola does it separately here in a second. Now, one thing to point out, we want to show you both the notifications menus on both these devices. Very similar in how they're set up. Play Store, of course, is the same. Also, it is kind of cool to have these little animations. I've kind of started falling in love with them, let's put it that way. It's pretty cool. So let's take a look at some of the benchmarks that we can do on both devices. Okay, so here we can see the bottom of both devices. Not much to see here. A small microphone hole and a microphone hole here on the Motorola. Let's go ahead and roll this over, and you can see the tops of both devices here. Now on the tops we have the power switch, the pull-off area for the back on the 1S, and a small microphone hole, earphone jack here, and on the Motorola. On each of these devices, on the upper right-hand side, there's a volume rocker, and then there's a volume rocker here on the Motorola, and the power switch is located on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side of both devices, we have a charger sync port, of course, HTML out also for the HTC One S. We have an area here we'll show you in a second, an area for charging and sync. What this does is this pulls apart here on the side, and you can see pulling out. What it does is it's a place where it houses your SIM card, and also a place where you can put the expandable memory of the micro SD. Okay, so here we can see that both devices really perform closely together in their performance on the Geekbench 2 score. You can see here that the T-Mobile 1S got a 1496 score against 1447 for the Motorola. Let's go ahead and page up. They came in really close across the board. As you can see, the memory a little bit stronger on the 1S. Let's take a look at system information. Very similar gigahertz in the Qualcomm processors here, both 1.51 gigahertz. We'll page down through these, and you can pause this at any time to see the individual scores if you so choose. But yeah, these are definitely two different phones that are very well competing against each other when it comes to performance, and they do very well. You can see here memory test came out a little bit better for the 1S. Stream performance a little bit better. All that good stuff. Okay, so here we can see on both devices, this is the Quadrant Standard app that we're using, and the device scored 4384 for the 1S and 4802 for the Motorola. You can see here the bottom scores on how they did, and you can check those out. Okay, so now we can see how both devices compare with the Antutu Benchmark 2.9.2 versions. The 1S came in at 7,018, and the Razr came in at, let's see, 6809. Okay, so using the Velimo app on both these to do benchmarking tests, you can see that the Velimo app scored this at 1455, 606, and the HTML 1675 against 557. Okay, so here we can see we've got, this is the PassMark Performance mobile test that we did. The 1S scored 2098 against 1993. Let's go down. The CPU scored 5,316 against 4923. Disk tests were 37 3557 against 2503. Memory tests were 2331 against 2408, and 2440. Whoops, we're creating some mess there. 2440 against 2449 for the 2D graphics test, and 624 for the 3D graphics test against 633. Okay, so now we can see here the billion counter numbers. This basically sees how long it takes for the device to get to a billion. So you can see here that we have 25.23 seconds here, 23.128 seconds for the Motorola. Okay, so here we can see how both devices are able to GPS themselves, find themselves on the planet, and also pick up satellites in the atmosphere. You can see here that the T-Mobile is coming with an accuracy of 10 feet. It's 20 satellites in view it's using, about 10 in use in view, 20 and 12 in use on the Motorola. Looks like it's trying to get its accuracy down, and it does look like it's picking up one more satellite than the other, but let's see here. 27, 25, looks like there's a 25 that the one is picking up on and getting a better result and getting a closer accuracy. So there's your GPS test. Okay, so here we can see the benchmark on both devices. The GL benchmark 2.5.1 on the Egypt Classic for the 1S. We did 6,430 frames at 57 frames per second, as opposed to 6,725 frames at 60 frames per second, much higher on the Motorola. Okay, so here's our Kfs Benchmark Tests, and basically what this does is test frames per second, and you can see here that the Motorola served up a total overall of 42.59 frames per second, as opposed to the T-Mobile's 41.7 frames per second. Okay, so here what we're doing is we're doing testing of the AND-E Bench app, which basically shows us how each device processes the native and Java threads. You can see here the 1S scored 4911 against 5099 on the Motorola, 172 against 180 on the Motorola. Okay, so here you can see the scores from BrowserMark. The BrowserMark came in at 86,957 on the 1S and 102,085 on the Motorola. So pretty interesting BrowserMark website standards there. Okay, so what we've done here is we've run the Sun Spider tests, and what we've done is you can see here the lower of the test is the score you want to take in half, because it scores how quickly you serve up web browsers. So it got 1725 on the T-Mobile 1S and the 1849 on the Motorola. Okay, so here we can see some results that we're getting with speed test on the HTC 1S. You can see here the results that we're getting from that using an iPad 3 as the hotspot. So you can see the hotspot comparisons between the two if you compare them on the video. These are just to give you some figures. Of course, you can do your own comparisons at home with your own phone and determine which of these phones would be best for you. Both perform very well in a hotspot scenario and situation where you're able to watch Netflix in high definition with very little buffering, maybe 2 or 3 different buffering hiccups, and of course the mileage will vary depending upon where area you're in. But they perform very well at sending us video and work really well with Netflix in being able to wander around with the hotspot. Okay, so now here we can see the speed test results using the Motorola as a hotspot. So we've activated it as a hotspot, fed it to a iPad 3G, which will burn a lot of data if you give it to it. And you can see here the results we got from the Verizon network. So it processed a lot of really great data very quickly and very fast, as you can see here. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're doing a in-call Skype call so that you can see how the front-facing camera performs and puts the image onto another computer. We're using a iPad 3 for this, of course. This is on a Wi-Fi, and so this is a localized Wi-Fi between the two different computers, just to give you an idea as to how well the front-facing camera performs if you're using FaceTime, Skype, or I shouldn't say FaceTime, should I? That's an iPhone thing. But if you're using Skype or Tango or other things, you can see how that's going to come out the other side. Now let's try using the network of T-Mobile in this case. Okay, so now we can see here with front-facing camera, of course, the video that we're getting. This is over the T-Mobile 4G network. So you can see here, not much difference really when it comes to localized internet service and or it comes between the 4G network. So both perform very well, and you can see the phone does a great job at processing data and processing video images. Awesome. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're doing an in-Skype call on a localized Wi-Fi. You can see here the picture comes out really good on my iPad 3 coming from the Motorola, and actually broadcasts and receives my picture really well from the iPad 3. So really good job. In fact, this may be the best Skype picture I've seen from a forward-facing camera. So pretty cool stuff. Great, amazing little phone. Okay, so now we can see here with front-facing camera, of course, the video that we're getting. This is over the T-Mobile 4G network. So you can see here, not much difference really when it comes to localized internet service and or it comes between the 4G network. So both perform very well, and you can see the phone does a great job at processing data and processing video images. Awesome. Okay, so now let's take a look at the camera functions. We pretty much covered most of the phone. On the camera functions, you've got the ability, of course, to adjust your flash and your backlight or your light for when you're using camcorder. You, of course, have your settings gear here, and you can go through and adjust all this different elements that you have to control the front, the back, all that good stuff. You can also adjust your image resolution. This is pretty standard on most Android phones, so we'll skip through this. You can adjust your video quality, duration, image adjustments, ISO, white balance, continuous shooting. This is one great thing about the HT phones. They have a continuous shooting series where you can shoot up to 20 frames, choose the best one you want, or you can hold the button and do continuous shooting, which works pretty well and jams out a whole mess of photos. You can capture a lot more action shots that way. You've got auto upload, camera interface. We can do some adjustments here. Video options. You can also add video stabilization, record with audio, stereo recording, all that good stuff. So it gives you a lot of different options you can take and do. Face detection, widescreen, geotag, all the great things that you can normally do with Android customization. Down here you've got several different shooting types of scenes you can choose from: auto, slow motion video, HDR, panorama, portrait, group portrait, all this stuff, all the way down to low light, which is really useful if you're shooting in low light and you want to be able to adjust the camera. So you can really offset a lot of different viewing problems you might be having and still take great pictures. Touching this little opaque circle here, you get some effects, and you can see these effects in real time on the screen as you're taking the photo. So that makes it very easy to decide what you want to take and do with the effects. You can see here there's quite a few of them. Vintage cold, sepia, some negative, some posterized, some aqua, where things can get really weird. So you have those options to be able to shoot those with the camera. Now you can see here you've got a shutter button for taking photos. You've got your camcorder button for taking video. You also have your zoom button where you can slide in and out here and be able to take your photos. Now let's look at some photos. Okay, the one thing about the HTC is it does take really nice photos. So you can see here we've got really good colors, great reds. Now the one thing about the HTC phones as of late is they're definitely manipulating the yellow, blues, and greens, and they've been bumping it up. You can see here some video that we're taking. On this video, the floor is much darker, and we've kind of noticed that what it does is HTC has manipulated the yellow, blues, and greens and jacked them up a little bit. It's not necessarily a bad thing. What it does is it gives you the impression that your photos are a lot more brighter than they really are, but the challenge with that, especially in video, is if you get into a large green, yellow, or blue environment, it tends to really dominate. But you can offset that. That's the beauty of the Android product. You can offset a lot of those controls. We don't have a big problem with it, but we definitely notice it with the HTC products. So I don't see it as a detriment. You just have to be aware of it and offset your ISO and your exposure settings and stuff to get more of the true color. Here's a picture, of course, of our floor. And I can tell you it's a little bit much darker. Well, not more a little bit, but it is much darker than this. So once again, it's pumping up the yellows. You can see the greens coming through very strongly in the photo. So it's not a bad thing. It works very well. I mean, when you're out doing pictures and videos, it looks beautiful and pops everything really nicely. It's just you have to be careful if you get environments with too much of one color. And of course, you can customize that and adjust it. Here's some low light video. Took us a second to get in focus, but some low light video, and as you can see here, the
the flash, the light works extremely well in being able to light up your environment and be able to see what's going on. The focus comes through, the colors come through. It does a great job with being able to light up an area in the dark. Here's a low light photo that we took. Comes out really great. The colors are still crisp. Lines, we can see everything perfectly in a dark situation. So the flash does a great job in the camcorder light of lighting up an area and being able to see what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay, so the Motorola's got a great camera. It's got a really fast shutter. I really enjoy using it. It's fun to play with. For some reason, it just seems to be more responsive to the camera. It's got a great screen, of course, to work from. You've got your zoom in and out. You've got your area for your albums up here. It's got most of the same menu you'd find on an Android. You've got your settings here where you can do different things with shutters and stuff like that. You've got effects that you can take and add on here. You've got scenes that you can take and do. You've got modes that you can do. You've got exposure, and then you've got your flash you can control. And then what's nice is you can just swipe and get rid of this little adjustment bar here, which is really nice. And of course you can get the focus and all that good stuff. Now you can easily switch between video and your shutter for your camera. You can easily switch from front to back, and you've got your shutter button here in both cases. It's a great little camera. I really enjoyed it. Let's take a look at some of the pictures we got. Now, one thing we really noticed about the camera, well, I'll get to that in a second. You can see here's a picture of a flower that we took. The light's a little rough during the day that we took that picture. Here's an outdoor picture that came out pretty well. Video-wise, the video comes out really well. Great blues, greens, everything is pretty much what it should be and how it works. Great camera. I mean, is it the best camera in the world? I'm not sure. You'd have to do some comparison testing, but it's a good camera. Now, this is one thing we always do. We always shoot my floor because some cameras jack up the yellow, blues, and greens to artificially adjust the brightness in the pictures and make them look like the pictures are cooler. This actually takes an accurate picture of the colors on my floor. What's even cooler is the video also takes an accurate picture also. So, we're very impressed by that it's not having its software manipulating its colors. The low light pictures of camera, this is taken completely in the dark with the flash. You can see here it takes a great photo without blowing out the photo. One thing we were super impressed with, and I started talking about this earlier, is its low light lamp ability. It has a brilliant lamp on it that takes great dark pictures. This is completely in the dark, and you can see it does a great job of lighting up not only the local area really close, but pretty much the whole area that we were working in. So we were really surprised that something as thin and small has that bright of a lamp. So really blown away. You can hear me say wow on the tape there. So yeah, great little camera on the Motorola. I was very impressed with it. Be sure to check that out on the deal. Now overall, we like both devices. Both devices are really great. You can get the HTC One S from t-mobile.com. That's t-mobile.com. You can tell them we sent you. Chris Voss tested. Chris Voss approved on both these devices. The Verizon Motorola Razr M. Motorola Razr M is an awesome device. Also go to VerizonWireless.com to see all their great phones and everything there. It's VerizonWireless.com. Tell them Chris Voss sent you.